All right, morning everybody. Let's see. Obviously, we are still licking our wounds. That 24-hour rule is hard to follow. Probably even harder after a tough loss, especially on the road. Give Coastal Carolina credit. They really played hard, especially offensively. I thought they did a good job. Second half, they made some really good adjustments to what we were doing. Obviously, 14 penalties for 150 yards, I think is right where we were. Maybe the most penalties I've ever been part of. Beyond disappointed in that. After looking at them, there was obviously some that there was no doubt we did. There was some that I thought were very questionable. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that other than to say very frustrated, and we've got to do a better job for sure on our part for that. We looked at the film this morning and got all that behind us, and now we're moving on to Tulane, and we'll talk about them. But, what a great job those guys do. This was one of those games we pointed to in the offseason. We think, one of the best teams will play, and that's counting everybody on that schedule. Well coached, both sides of the ball, special teams. I think last year they had 5 games that were decided by less than a touchdown. That they could have won, and could have beat Wake Forest as a really good team. That was an overtime game, and then they looked really good this week. We're going to have to really do a great job here at home to have a chance to win this one. So, early kickoff, need a really good crowd there, and I think we will have one, and hopefully get this bad taste out of our mouth. Okay, questions?
Speaking of kind of that bad taste, in the past last year, y'all seem to respond well to losses like this. What kind of goes into the attention to detail does your coaching staff as well as the team take after having a loss?
Sure. Yeah, I think for us, one of the tough things about playing you need to play all kind of different opponents, and there's just a different feel for going on the road. I thought we were ready. I thought we've had a great summer. We worked extra on Coastal. I don't think there's a lack of preparation, but I think the things that we've got to look at is, what happened when we lost some of those guys we lost from last year. Who's going to step up? Who's going to take their place? Do we need to simplify, defensively, offensively? What are those things that lets our guys play fast where they're not thinking? I mean, that's where coaching comes in. I think after the game, our guys were very upset, which they should have been. They're still upset today, which they should be. And now we're going to see what we do with it, it starts in how we prepare. I thought Monday and Tuesday, I don't think from a work standpoint last week we worked just as hard. I didn't think we were very emotional, which was a little surprising to me. And, my question is always after a big win, how do you handle it? How do you handle the road? So, this is, as I say, we've been shocked into coherence, and sometimes it takes that tough loss, and if you're a real competitor, you hate everything about it, and I think that's where we are right now. So we're going to see how we respond. They're very similar to the Ball State game last year. I didn't know that was possible if we could really have more penalty yards than we did at Ball State, but we did. So, but I know that was a hard loss. I didn't know what kind of team we were going to have at that point. And I think we responded the right way, and I think this group will do the same.
But when you have a fourth quarter like that, does it come down to leadership and guys?
I think so. Yeah, I think so, and that all starts with me. I mean, I told the guys, I said, I'm gonna take this one. Obviously, I didn't have them as prepared as they need to be, whatever that reason was. I do think we got frustrated. We had played so well offensively in the first half, and we still moved the ball, and then we shot ourselves in the foot. I don't want to spend all day talking about penalties, but when you have that number of penalties, and they were such big numbers, that I think we started to really get frustrated, and it showed. So we talk a lot about winning the fourth quarter. I mean, that's really everything for us. So. You want to start fast, and then you played that whole second half like it's 0-0, even though we were ahead, and we did, for whatever reason. So I think, yeah, we're looking for leadership. Just having a bunch of seniors don't mean you got a bunch of leaders. So that's what we're looking for. But, all this starts with me. So I told them this one's going to be on me, and the next one will be on all of us. So we'll see what happens.
Coach, when you get a sense of frustration starting to set in during the game, what can you do to
you know, you call timeouts. You know, I mean, I try and put them in these situations at practice. You know, where it's tough. It's fourth quarter. It's, you know, you got to persevere. You know, I mean, those are the things we do May, June, and July. I don't know. I mean, some of those things, I mean, I don't know what do you do when you have that many yardage and penalties. It's hard to, and I think that just upped our level of frustration. And I think we had a little bit of thinking we're good. You know, I mean, I think we bought into that whole, you know, we've got a bunch of guys back. We had a good year last year and we're supposed to be good. And that is all relative. And I tried to explain to them that now you are a big deal to everybody you play. You have become a big deal. Not that you weren't, because it's college football, you know, and everybody wants to win. But I think some of the adversity in the game we didn't handle like we should have. We had no post-game problems or anything like that, but it was just we didn't handle it during the game, and that's something we're going to be able to point back to and say, okay, this is what it looks like. You know, how are we going to respond next time? We're going to have adversity this week. This is a really good team. I want everybody to know it. I mean, we're going to have to play great to be in it, you know. But I'm planning on us doing that. But, I mean, we're going to have to play great. They play in a really good league. They're playing top competition all the time. You know, so we're going to see how we respond. And, I mean, this was one of those I was looking forward to because it'll tell us a lot about ourselves before going to conference play. Yes, sir.
Talk a little bit about Tulane coming in. Y'all ran an old rivalry.
Right.
And this will be your first conference game. Give us a little bit of what we need to be looking at, what y'all are looking at out of Tulane.
Right. So, yeah, being an old conference opponent, not, you know, they're not in our conference now, obviously, but, you know, I think the thing for them, first we start with them offensively, right? It's an option mentality, which is tough, hard-nosed. You know, their backs hit it. You know, they understand where the double teams are happening and where guys are slipping off blocks and, you know, big, strong backs. Quarterback, 6'2", 225. This Banks guy, I mean, if he's not up for the Heisman, he probably should be. I mean, this guy he's a runner, thrower. I mean, people don't tackle this guy. I mean, he's really electrifying, you know, and he's one of those guys I'm watching all summer just going, this guy's unbelievable. I mean, he's going to play somewhere at the next level, whether it's quarterback or you know, they move into receiver or whatever they do. I mean, I think he can play quarterback. I mean, he's got a cannon for an arm, strong, good in the pocket. Their O-line is good. I mean, their whole offense, they're similar to us, their whole offense is back. I think they lost one guy, is what I believe. But the head coaches, you know, similar to us, Coach Fritz has worked his way up, FCS to Georgia Southern to Tulane, you know, those kind of guys, their staff, we run into them on the road recruiting. You know, their defense plays really hard. You know, they remind me of us, you know, what I want us to be, you know, is guys fighting and clawing and scratching and doing whatever it takes to win, you know, and it's a well-coached, well-organized, hard-nosed team on both sides of the ball and do a great job in special teams as well.
See, a lot of guys back on offense. The one guy that's kind of started making a name for himself is Kendall Parham.
Mhm.
He's the second leading receiver right now. He's got 5 catches, 90 yards. But he had that one great play
Yeah.
on Saturday, and it lined up back to something y'all been working on or something y'all might want to feature him more in this year.
Yeah, I think one of the things for Kendall, you know, he was a big speed sweep and jet sweep and tall guy in high school. Besides doing his receiving things, you know, when he and some of his teammates came to our camp in the summer, you know, he was my favorite receiver I saw all summer, and it was I want to get this guy. You know, good hands. He comes to practice every day and practices hard. It's important to him. You know, and I think he's be the first one to tell you today. You know, he had a big long catch. He had the really great run. He was determined to get in the end zone. He had good blocking in the perimeter. He probably, you know, he had one touchdown pass I know he'd like to have back at the end of the game that he would have called. But I mean, he was terrific game and getting better. But the thing you love about this guy, he comes to practice and he enjoys football.
You saw Andre kind of go past anything like that. You might have to.
You never know. You never know. So we got a bunch of things that we work every week, and that was one that we'd been saving. And Andre executed it, and you know, Lucius, you know, almost had that ball. It was great throw, and it was a time when we needed it to change the field position to get in field goal range, which we did. We just missed the field goal. Anybody else?
How's injury-wise, how much these guys, Street, Stacy, and Severi?
We got a chance to get a lot of those guys back, those few that were bunged up. We got a chance to get all those guys back this week. We'll know more on today. And then, of course, having that open date next week will be a chance, hopefully, to get every single one of them back. But we're close right now to some of these guys that have been, that were out last week. We got a chance to get them all back this week. We'll know a lot more today.
Coach, you touched on the facing adversity, but as a coach and wanting to see where a team stands, talk about that on a personal note and the excitement that it gets where you get to see a little bit more from your team and see how they respond in these types of situations.
Yeah, these are the, I say this all the time. I'm a coach's son. I've been doing this about 30 years. And, what makes this job great and what makes it terrible at the same time is what goes with wins and losses. And I said all the time, I'm too smart when we win, and I know what I'm thought of when I lose or we lose. So, of course, that's what makes this game great, because there's so few opportunities. And then we dissect each game and we go through it and we save it, and it's part of history. But what that team last year did, they responded to a Ball State loss. They responded to a Charlotte loss. And we're going to see what this team does. And everything I've seen out of them, I feel like they're going to respond. Now, this next team we play is going to have something to do with what we do. We could respond really well and still be tough. This game's going to be tough no matter what. And I want people to hopefully have realistic expectations, knowing this is a really good team we're playing. But at the same time, it is all about how you handle adversity. Really, that is the measure of probably anybody's. And I say that about men all the time. We're going to have adversity. We're going to have ups and downs. My son and I, who was on the team, were talking about it. And that was the text last night. How are we going to be? I said, we're going to be fine. We're going to handle it. And this is what we go through in life. And do you quit? Do you fight? Do you drop your head? Do you keep your head up? And that's why I said this one's on me. I'm going to take this one. And I didn't prepare them as good as I should have. So it starts with me. But I think they're going to handle it. I know the staff's going to handle it, and we'll be better for it.
Anything else? All right, Coach.
Thank you. Thanks.
We'll now move Kendall Parham up to the podium. Kendall had 129 yards of total offense, including that 64-yard touchdown run. So, Kendall. And we will open it up for questions.
Yeah. Well, obviously, first off, kind of take us through that play. That's something y'all been working on during the ball game.
That's actually something we just put in later on in the week before the game, because we knew Street was going to be out for that week. So we wanted a speed guy back there. So we was just practicing out at practice, and every time I practiced at practice, it was coming out like I was performing well with it at practice. That's what I'm basically trying to say. So when Coach called in the game, I knew I had to execute it, because I knew we needed it at that point in the game, and it just came out great.
What is it like to see that a coaching staff has confidence in you? They design some sort of scheme that enables you to utilize your talents. What does it mean to you as an individual player to feel that from people that work with you?
It feels great. It feels very reassuring in yourself. It makes you more confident in yourself, knowing that your coaches believe in you, and knowing it like puts a extra hand on your shoulder telling you you can do it. So that really helps.
You got a real deep receiver core, a lot of seniors, and you were coming in. So what have you been able to do to be able to kind of find your niche in this offense this early on in the season?
Just trying to take advantage of every opportunity that comes my way. And like Coach said, it was a touchdown catch that I really want back, that I left at the end of the game. But really just trying to take advantage of every opportunity.
Kendall, when a play works like that, how does that feel? Being up there with the ball?
It feels great.
To see all of it work just the way it did in practice. What were you thinking at the ball in your hands, knowing the kickball was happening?
When I first got it, my main goal was just trying to use speed and burn it and like just run past everyone. And when that didn't work out and I started cutting back, I was like, I know my team's gonna come block, and thankfully they did. They all, they rushed down the field. They were making like late field blocks, and I'm very thankful for that. And yeah.
And with the success of a play like that, is that something that y'all probably take a look at, maybe trying to put some more wrinkles of that nature back in
Yes, sir. Of course, we're gonna try to, put some, I guess, try to sprinkle it up a little bit more, make it cleaner.
Looking forward to, you play sports, you're gonna lose a game, you see how teams come back. Are you looking forward to seeing how this team's gonna respond this year?
I'm extremely ready to see how we respond, because I know after the game, it was tough. Like no one likes to lose that bad, and I know I hate losing. I know my team hate losing. So I know this week we're really gonna try to respond with everything that we got. We gave everything last week, but this week it just means more. It means so much more.
Anything else, Kendall? All right.
Thanks.
As fast as I want to say me, of course, but if I had to say Lucius, yeah.
As in who's the fastest?
Yes, sir.
Did you have a race or anything like that, or do you line up when you're doing 40s or whatever?
Yes, because we have certain drills in practice where we're sprinting, and we're always trying to beat the next guy, so we're always calling out each other like stand right here next to me while I run, stuff like that. And most of the time, either him or Fat, they win, or Demetrius.
So how fast are you? What's your 40 time?
My 40, I had to say like 4 or 5, but game speed is always different, and I'm pretty sure I'm faster in the game.
Why is that?
Just momentum. I mean, not momentum. Adrenaline is pumping. Like in practice, you can run full speed, but it's not like you don't need to as much. But in the game, you have to run as hard as you possibly can. So I'm pretty sure in the game we're much faster.